Hey everyone, it's Alexis. I am back with a brand new video. Happy Monday. Thank you for being here. And thank you for starting your week off or whenever you find this video with this information. Today I'm talking about specific person, relationships, people, groups of people. I have a success story of a client of mine that really turned around a circumstance with the family of her specific person. And we can use this if you feel like people, things, or things outside of you, groups of people are against you, against what you want. Or like maybe you just are having a difficult time with some things. I'm going into today about some tools and how to work through it. I'm talking today about major emotions, how to work through those, how to use your mind to mentally discreate ideas and contracts you've created with others, general tidbits about manifesting, about specific people, and about love and relationships always, okay? Before I get started, the links for booking one-on-one coaching, the links for booking one-on-one hypnosis, the links to all of my stuff are in the box below. If you are wanting to get in for a one-on-one session with me and you do not see an availability online, please email our receptionist, sessions@createyourfuture.co, asking for my next available session, or give us your availability if you're a new client and your location, and we can get you in for as soon as possible, or you can put yourself on my wait list, okay? So yes, I have a great client success story today where my client felt like the odds were against her and her husband's family really posed a lot of problems for her. And I want to talk about the tools I gave to her because perhaps they can help you in your journey, and maybe it can shed just some light on just some general aspects of what we are doing when we come into the human experience, when we come into a body, when we come into the human vessel, the people that are around us that you might, if there's a familiarity or familiar dynamics playing out, maybe it's not the first time. Now, how do we use the lessons and what we're learning in this lifetime to create the lasting change, learn the lesson, discreate it, understand it, and move on, okay? So let's go into it, okay? So like I said, this client of mine, she had ongoing, reoccurring, similar themes with her husband's family. She felt really, really like she would go to events where they were there and she would feel like it was very overwhelming. They had a lot to say. Everyone had an opinion. Everyone had a comment. There was so much that she felt like, and this was happening all the time. He's very close to the family, and she had really worked with me on manifesting more closeness, more connection with him. And his advice was, you got to try to ignore them. Don't give them a lot of your power, things like that. So he was even telling her some of the things that I was telling her, but she and I worked through it. And I really thought like, hey, this is a good example of a client success story that I think a lot of us could benefit from. So like I said, they were just a lot. And she had married him about 5 years ago, and all these people had known each other for much longer. So they had their group dynamic and their group energy in her reality that she married into. Okay, it's what we do. We marry someone, unless your person doesn't have a lot of people around. This is something that I've helped a lot of people work through. So like I said, she would often feel like it was really, really energetically overwhelming. And because she had spoken to her husband about it so many times, she really felt like it was starting to seep in to their harmony, their consistency, their love, their connection, because she was carrying around a fair amount of things people would say to her, right? Like so-and-so would say this, and then so-and-so would say that, and then someone would say this, and then somebody would say that. Okay. So, and I over here am married, and it's funny. You guys, I don't have my wedding ring on because it doesn't go with my jewelry. That is just by happenstance. I am happily, pleasantly married most of the time. So if you're watching this YouTube video and you want to comment on Reddit about how I might not be married, that's not the case. I'm usually just wearing jewelry that I like how it looks together. So in any event, that's kind of funny. But yeah, so like I married, I have, worked through my own issues with the family I married into, which were different than this. But anyways, we all have stuff that we create, right? Now, the reason why things feel familiar for us and groups of people feel familiar is maybe because it's replaying things you felt before. Maybe it's replaying the dynamic you always felt in your birth family. Maybe it's that you knew all along that you would marry this person. Like your unconscious mind knew I would marry this person, I would meet these people, and I would learn a lesson and work through things in this lifetime through this group of people. Okay, just a reminder. We come from our creator essence, which is God in essence in energetic form. We live in the spiritual world, which we could call the heavens. We agree to come into the physical body. We choose our parents. We choose our location of birth. We choose our elements, right? We choose the energy that we come in during, if you believe in astrology, for a lesson, for a learning, and for a higher soul development. So I want you to ask yourself, like I asked her, what is the greater lesson? And what are you carrying around? And what do we need to let go of? Okay, now, this is the other thing. For about 3 or 4 sessions, she would tell me that this situation related to her childhood and her mother and her father. Now, she was really, really convinced that because that happened then, that she had a lot of reason to carry around resentment, rejection, not so much regret, okay? Jumping ahead of myself, the 3 R's are rejection, resentment, regret, okay? She was carrying around a fair amount of rejection and regret, okay? Now, I, like everyone, I hold space for you. I listen to you. By the 3rd or 4th session, I said, listen, we need to let go and recreate a new learning for the inner child, the aspect of you then. We need to let go of the resentment and the rejection then. And we need to cut the contract of thought with all these people. And you need to once and for all learn the lesson. And we have to decide it is not going to affect your marriage, your connection with him. Okay. So you want to ask yourself, if this speaks to you, if you're going through something and there's a lot of people, or let's say you're going through something with your SP, right? You want to ask yourself, okay, what am I holding on to? The 3 R's, to say them again now in clear order, are resentment, rejection, regret. You will know if you ask yourself, okay, do I feel resentful about this person? Do I feel regretful about my choices? Do I feel like they're rejecting me? Now, I've done a lot of videos on rejection in relationships and love relationships. When it's about an SP, a lot of times it's rejection. Rejection can even be the theme that we feel with our children, the theme that you can feel with your close loved ones. You might not feel that with groups of people or a group thought or a thing that you feel like you're affected by. It might be more resentment. Okay. So I said to her, we need, first of all, and I want you listening to this. Now, I'm saying this in a very loving sense, right? You want to process and get over and use these tools to, like, tell yourself, I am getting over, or you have to decide, you guys, that you've gotten over and you're getting over the childhood stuff that happened to you then that you feel like has caused so many issues. We know that from 0 to 7, yes, that's our programming time. 0 to 7 is when you are collecting from your environment all the information. It gets solidified till you're 13, and then you solidify it as you're an adult. You pick up new thoughts, you have new beliefs, etc. It doesn't mean that you can play the blame game, or that playing the blame game with your parents or the people and the caregivers is going to serve you now. Because it was an underlay to this whole thing going on with her. So I said, listen, you got to realize, like, you picked your parents for your benefit and a lesson. Everything is just an experience. All the things that you're experiencing in your human body, which is your vessel, they are just experiences. There is no good, there is no bad. It is an experience that we experience in the human body, and it will make a lot of sense later. Okay. So I said, you got to really, we need to stop over capitulating and over analyzing, and also stop expecting your mom and your dad to be different, give you something different. Okay. We have to have that within ourselves, but it's such a healing, right? And it's such a wonderful way to look at it. Like, okay, so I picked them for a reason. I'm still figuring out the reason. Right. This is you guys. I did pick the place I was born. So, like, that's okay. Interesting. So what does that tell me about me? And I'm still learning lessons along the way. Okay. Now, there was that about her lineage and her parents and her childhood that I had her work on and affirm for and think differently and really, really rejig in her inner story and her inner mind. And then I said, okay, now about these people, right? Because she came to me consistently with the same issue that we're working through. I said, listen, I want you to tell me, do you feel resentment, rejection, or regret? Which one? Right? For her, it was resentment. And then it was rejection. Like, she just didn't feel included, all these things. And I said, okay, listen, tonight I want you to decide, because she was going to see them in a couple of days. I want you to see yourself having a good time with them. I want to see yourself being unaffected by what everybody else is doing. And I want you to cut the contract of thought that they get to have this thing. There's so much resentment. There's so much rejection. I want you to cut the contract with the resentment and the rejection. Now, what do I say by cutting a contract? It's like a mental, metaphysical thought cord cutting. If you've heard of cord cutting, I do cord cutting in hypnosis. I used to do it in energy healing practices. It's something that's talked about in so many circles, okay? But I'm saying you can cut the cords of energy and you can bring your power back into your body right here, right now, through the power of intention and your thought. You do not need to be in a state of hypnosis. It can help sometimes if you find it really hard to grasp these things. And the more that you grasp them in hypnosis, the easier it is to grasp them in your waking life. But in any event, I said, listen, you got to do this. I want you to figure out a way that you can do it. You can write it down. You can yell it out to the mirror. You can decide. She said, okay, listen, Alexis, I don't believe you. Okay, this has happened for so long. It's so ingrained in me. It's such a part of my subconscious, right? I hear that a lot. So I don't think I can change it. And I said, okay, well, let's just try because you're around them all the time. Let's just give it a go, right? Lo and behold, I saw her this week and guess what happened? Miraculously, she told me when she left the event that everybody was at, she noticed that she felt like herself. She wasn't affected by everybody. She was just kind of there. She was in space. She actually had a good time. And she noticed different nuances about people's personalities and interactions with them that she had never seen. Okay, that she had never even noticed because she was so caught up in this story of resentment, rejection. And then it was just this whole thing that she was really, really allowing everyone to be in control of her energy and her power. Okay. So you guys, you got to take your power back. Whatever you're going through, whatever you're manifesting, whatever you're affirming for, it's really, really necessary to take your power back. Now, what does that mean? It means being in control of your thoughts, in control of your emotions, making your reactions and your communication with people. Am I here? I think there's a delay for a second. Making your interactions and your communications with people from your authentic true place, not the idea of this isn't happening, this isn't going on, what am I doing, how am I going to say it? No. You got to choose who you are once you've done all these processes. Really noticing, like, if you're affected by a lot of people and if you go to the workplace, or maybe it's your own family, right? Maybe it is your partner's family. Maybe it is your just people, right? You want to decide, like, okay, so what's the lesson here? What am I learning? If you can't figure out the lesson, you can book a session. I can try to work it through with you because I might pick up on something that you're not seeing because you're in the experience. Okay. But you got to be like, okay, so like, what's this all teaching me? What am I missing? If this is here, if I've created this, if I am the ultimate manifester of my reality and I create things, right? If my reality is a projection of me, why have I created this? And what's it showing me? Right? Because possibly there might be something that in there that you've created that's like totally for your benefit. And wouldn't you like to know, like, okay, I can learn the lesson. I can cancel, delete the contract, meaning like you don't get to affect me this way anymore. And I can move on and know that you can have that as a tool throughout your lifetime. Okay. What you don't want to do is perpetually have to repeat the same cycle, because guess what? Until you figure this out, until you handle it spiritually, metaphysically, emotionally, it's going to keep happening. I am just the bearer of the, information about reality. I am not the one that wrote the rules, right? But we are all here, right? You are here. You have a purpose. You have a soul plan. Is not destiny, but there are things that you agreed to learn and to overcome and understand about yourself in your lifetime. The biggest one for most people is self-love. Self-love, unconditional love. So that could be part of the lesson, right? Learning how to love yourself and accept yourself through adversity. Learning how to love yourself and accept yourself in the face of what you perceive as rejection. Okay. But remember, you guys, you are the director, you are the writer, and you are really the star of this movie. Again, you are the writer, you are the director, you are the star of this movie. If you notice me looking over to the left, I'm timing myself because I'm trying to make shorter videos that you guys can listen to on repeat. I've gotten some good feedback about that. And it's so like my style. Okay. So you are the writer, director. You are everything in the movie. You get to decide what's happening because your reality is an illusion. It's not even real. Right. So the more that you're caught up in what's happening and what are they saying and what's going on and what does this mean about me, you're creating more of the same. You see, you're basing your thoughts, your story, your perspective on that. Whatever that is. Say it's a bunch of people. I happen to have this carnelian crystal, right? Out here. It's a little heavy. So like, yeah, this is how you really rewrite the story. Is you learn the lesson, you move on, and you just like have to decide you're going to get over some things, right? You're going to be like, okay, I'm going to figure this out. How do I get over it? How do I get over it? I take my power back by focusing on me, changing the story of me. I learn the lesson. I figure out, okay, my thoughts really do create. I am the writer and I am the deliberate creator of my reality. So like, oh, so like, who do I want to be now? Right? Who am I? Who do I choose to be? Who am I? Who do I choose to be? And who are they? The thing is this, like this client, I said, okay, so like, let's decide who are you in this scenario? Who are they in this scenario? This applies to everything. And she said, well, and I said, so tell me, and of course, like everybody, she says, well, I don't want to be so angry. I don't want to be so irritated. I don't want to be. I said, okay, great. So you're telling me who you want to be vis-a-vis who you don't want to be. Now we are very good at this. It took me, I remember I heard that statement, thinking of what you want from what you don't want, right? For years, you guys, years until I figured that out, until it was like, no, just like, who do I want to be? Who do I want? Right? Oh, I just think that like going right for it, not having a roundabout way of, I don't want this, so therefore I know what I want. That's not even maybe your truth, right? You're learning who you want to be through contrast in that other way. In any event, I said, no. I want you to tell me who you want to be. Like, if you could just pick out of the universe of possibilities, describe to me how you would be in that scenario, right? And she said, oh, okay. I said, and she said, well, I don't. And I said, no, stop it. Who do you want to be, right? I am hard on you guys with love, right? So do you get it, right? I frankly wish that someone had talked to me this way years ago and it would have been like, oh, so that's how we do this. In any event, it was my journey to figure it out for you guys. So she, so then I said, no, tell me who you are. Who do you want to be in that scenario? Right? She said, well, I'd like to just feel like I can be myself. I'd like to feel like I can just go to an event, everybody is there and I come home, no big deal. And I said, okay, so let's focus on, I get to be myself, like really deciding, I get to be myself. I get to be who I am. I get to leave every scenario and just feel like, no big deal. Instead of taking it on, creating a lot of thought about it, energetically holding on to everyone else's stuff. Right? Also, if you found this, like, are you empathic? Have you always taken on the energy of everybody else? You kind of want to stop doing that, you guys. Being an empath, taking on everybody's stuff and being so affected by it, it doesn't serve a greater, higher purpose. And if you were to ask the higher self within you that is connected to our creator, it might tell you like, hey, you don't have to do it that way. Hey, like you might just want to go to places and go to things and be experiencing things, regulating your own energy and not taking stuff on and knowing when you have to rest. Just a thought. Okay. So anyways, so I said, yeah, and who are they? Like, do you want to change anything about them? And she said, well, I'd like to be acknowledged. I'd like to feel included. I said, okay. So I want you to decide. I want you to cut the cord, cut the contract of resentment and rejection. Decide in your mind and affirm, I am letting go of the lesson of rejection and resentment with these people. I am letting go. I'm saying contract here in a way that's kind of like a little bit different. It's not like a soul contract. It's not something that you agreed to, but it's an unconscious agreement that's about the scenario, right? So, and just a tool. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, then trash it. Okay. So she said, I said, yeah, I want you to just decide and I want you to affirm until you go. Okay. Now this worked for her because it does work, right? Again, the 3 R's are rejection, resentment, regret. Notice, am I carrying, does this situation, does he, do them, does she cause me to feel this way? Do I feel like I'm holding on to resentment, rejection, regret? Decide that contract, that lesson is over. Move past it and decide who you are and who they are. This is a very simple, easy practice. Any of us can do it at any point in the day. Now, to answer your question, is this like an affirmation video where you affirm and affirm and affirm about this? No. It can be one and done. See it as one and done. If it comes up again, then elicit this response again. I'm not sure if you guys can hear. We're having our avocado tree trimmed. If there's loud noises or banging against the wall, like right here, I'm okay. Everything's fine. Okay. So you guys practice this, play around with it. Let me know what you think. Okay. And also I want to say, I really, really want to say for everyone, the practice of creating your reality is an evolution, a timeline. It's an evolution of getting to know yourself in this lifetime. If you are watching my videos, even if you're doing coaching, if you're manifesting, blah, 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 and you're trying to get it done quickly, done on a time crunch, done on a timeline. Number one, that tells us that you have a really big belief in your reality being real, right? Number two, you're seeing it incorrectly. You got to bring it back to, I am learning tools, aspects to get better and better and learn myself throughout my whole lifetime. the whole lifetime, which means that you want to try things, practice this, say your mental diet, practice creating your reality from the place of, no, I'm just doing this instead of I have to do it. I have to make it happen. When you have to do it, have to make it happen, get it done, figure it out, really like remove things, delete people, et cetera, et cetera. I've heard it all. It really actually shows that you believe your reality is really, really real. If you actually had ingrained the idea through thought that, oh, my reality is an illusion, it's all up for grabs, I'm living in an illusion reality, then it would be like, oh, there's no urgency to anything, right? Because you move on from this illusion to another maybe interlude, and so forth. So let's stop the sense of urgency and impatience, right? Use these tools today to figure out how can I better create a better reality for me? Because it's all about you. Your reality is based on you, your assumptions, your beliefs about you, who you're being, letting go and releasing of negative emotions. Cut those contracts. If you're caught up in your childhood, I want you to say, my parents did the best I could. I'm getting past it. I'm forcing myself to be in the now. My power is in the now. My power is not in the past. Okay. Now, this takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of practicing to bring your reality back to baseline, which is you, but you can do it. We all can. It's all available. We are all creators of our experience. There is nothing too big or too drastic to rethink or reformulate in your mind. And if you're still here, meaning you're in this experience, you're alive, you're in your human body, then it's still something for you to move through and grow. Because that's all that everything is. Learning, growing, getting better, having more fun, understanding really the mechanics of reality and why we're here. All right. I love you guys so much. And try these, put these into practice. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear about it, right? Let's release the negative emotions so that we can stay on track with creating the new story about us, specific person, specific people, specific scenarios. Okay. I'll see you guys in my next video. Mwah. Have an awesome day. Bye.